sound is on. The boom mic is working. We've got it aimed properly. Everything finally working. Hello, happy campers. I'm Spike.
I'm Chris.
That is Chris. Welcome to Geekin Out, for now at least. We are, after last week's disaster with the boom mic, battery died just as we started recording. So that's what we get for having boom mics that are not plugged into a wall somewhere. So anyway, this is Newsish for the week of May 31st, 2020. Oh, welcome. You're welcome to it. All right. Chris, you got anything that you wanted to talk about, news related?
Just the same stuff over.
Okay,
over again.
I'll do the heavy lifting this time around. HBO Max finally got its start this past week, and I wouldn't know because I do all my streaming on a Roku device, and HBO Max does not work on Roku devices, nor does it work on Amazon Fire or Fire Sticks. So if you have a Roku or an Amazon device, you don't get to find out firsthand just how suck-ass HBO Max has been. Apparently, the reviews have not been overly kind to it.
No.
Apparently, technically, it's, I think the technical term is dumpster fire, but pretty lousy. The reason they're not showing on Roku's and Amazon devices is because AT&T does not want to share their revenue. Roku, and the reason Amazon got into it was for the same reason Roku did, because they could get that sweet, sweet little cash flow every frickin' month by doing this. Basically, if you have an app on those devices, one of two things: either you're running free and you've got ads that you're showing. Roku/Amazon wants a taste of that to be on their devices, and if you're charging a monthly fee, Roku/Amazon wants to get a taste of it if you use their Roku/Amazon device to set up the subscription to HBO Max, for example, and AT&T doesn't want to share. So that's what the holdup is there. They're available on other things. What they can get to work, apparently, I'm hearing a lot of reports about how HBO Max and their technical issues, same thing Disney had to go through with as far as performance issues. But every streaming service goes through these growing pains, and HBO Max, this is their first week to start. They're going to hit every frickin' pothole that they possibly can in order to get up and running. But anyway,
I mean,
have you had a chance to try HBO Max yet?
well, first of all, they should have told everybody this before they launched, so people would be prepared. I have Hulu, and on my Hulu, I have HBO. Okay? Now, only here recently, because I now have Hulu TV, I have all the HBOs. So, like HBO West, HBO South, Latino, whatever, like all of them. Now, the thing is, there's no options on Hulu that gives me HBO Max. But where HBO is, it literally says HBO Max on the top of the corner. So when I click it, it just gives me everything that I already have, but it doesn't give me all the new stuff that HBO Max is supposed to have. And like, I'm hearing like Looney Tunes, I think Elmo and all that stuff. It's not even on there. It's not on Hulu at all. It's not on Hulu Max, which I don't know why they put the Max behind Hulu if that's not what HBO Max is. So I don't understand what's going on. I don't know. I mean, do I have to get a separate thing from Hulu?
Remember when Disney Plus started and everybody was complaining in its first week because there was nothing, all the stuff you wanted to find, you got about a third of it, maybe half of it on the service. But beyond that, there was nothing there. I watched all these movies. What's to watch? Disney Plus sucks. And then the Baby Yoda show came on. Every service has to have a killer app to get people hooked.
Exactly.
And set and stay. That's what Netflix found out. You got to have the killer apps, and for a streaming service, that means you have to have a really good show.
And well, now
Not even a good show. It has to be a show that catches people's eyes and becomes popular.
True, but more than just one show, as well. I mean, for me, it's like if you're going to have a good show, yeah, I want to watch it, but then what? Like, what am I going to watch when it's all over with, when it ends, for the season? Like, am I going to still pay, like, out of the wazoo for a show that just, like, oh, there's 8 episodes and then that's it? And now I have to wait until, like, next year or something for to watch it again.
It was like for the month of April. I tried Netflix out again. I got a month for free because I hadn't been subscribing in a while. And I've told this story before, probably last week when we didn't catch it on the boom mics, but... the only thing I wound up watching really on Netflix was I caught up on the new Invader Zim movie, the new Rocko's Modern Life movie, which was just disappointment distilled, and old episodes of Cheers, which will eventually, I guess, go back to CBS because that was a Paramount production. But anyway, there's no reason for me to stick around, and Netflix tried. They really did. I mean, they were throwing everything they could at me to get me to pay attention, and it was all the same derivative crap that was the reason I left to begin with. Netflix is actually on the other side of this problem. Disney Plus and HBO Max and DC Universe, for that matter, DC Universe didn't have the problem so much because they actually had a plan in place. They would debut new episodes of a show, run one a week, which everybody complained about because they're so used to binging, but it's the only way to get people to stick around. They would do one episode every week, and then when that show was over, they'd start another show, and they'd do week after week of new episodes.
Exactly. See,
that was the DC Universe thing. And problem is, all that stuff now goes to HBO Max, supposedly, and then Netflix has the exact opposite problem. It's not that they don't have enough programming, it's that they have too much programming.
Which is why I like it.
And nobody can, well, you like it because you'll sit there and you'll try new things. I don't want to watch Indian shows. I don't want to watch soap operas from Korea. I don't want to see all this stuff that HBO's coming up with. I don't need to see another L Word. I don't need to see another Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. I don't need to see all this crap. I want to watch, for example, Death in Paradise. That's why I subscribe to BritBox, and why he now subscribes to BritBox. Chris here is about to undergo a learning curve when it comes to Death in Paradise because he doesn't like Richard's personality.
A lot of people, but
Richard is the DI. He's the detective in charge on Death in Paradise. He's at the end of season 2. So for Death in Paradise fans, you know where Chris is at. Shh, don't tell him. Anyway.
Now, Death in Paradise, and now a lot of you probably don't even know what the hell I'm talking about.
Most
of you probably never even heard of BritBox.
You can catch the episodes on KET, current season episodes. You can watch more recent episodes on KET.
But it's like, okay, like with Disney Plus, just because they had the Mandalorian or the Baby Yoda show.
The Baby Yoda show, yeah.
Not everybody's a Star Wars fan. Which is why, even though the show is really, really good, it still didn't hit like first place with everybody. It was still like in second or third place, and Netflix was still number 1. But it's like, you have to have, like, the problem with Disney Plus is like, I haven't watched Disney Plus or anything on Disney Plus in like probably a month, because I've already watched all my shows that I grew up with, and I'm finished with those. But every time I turn on it, I'll check and see if there's anything new, and sometimes they'll add stuff, but it's nothing that I want to see. Like, I don't care about how they do things behind the scenes at Disney theme parks. I don't care how they created, whatever. I don't care. And they show a lot of that. Like,
Disney Plus appeals to two groups, okay? The first are the little kids who can watch the same stuff over and over and over and over, and they're quite happy with it.
princess kids.
The princess kids are one, the Pixar kids are the other. They will watch, those are the kids who watch Cars 2, okay? And listen, eventually a kid learns Cars 2 was crap, and that's when you can shed a tear, Mom and Dad, because your little baby's finally growing up. Anyway, I know we'll get some heat on that one. Anyway, so if you've got the kids who are your primary, who are the core. So Disney Plus is aimed at families. That's why they get in hot water when they censor things sometimes. The other hardcore group that they're after are the Disney files, the people who have identified so strongly with Disney that they want to know the inside workings and stuff. Now, I can't laugh too loud at this because I'm a Nintendo guy.
Right.
Okay? I will get... They're coming out with a new Paper Mario game, and I'm actually excited about it. I don't own... The last video game console I owned was the Super Nintendo Mini that they came out with a little while back that had like a couple dozen legendary games on it. The last one I got before that was the Wii, so I haven't tried any of the new Nintendo consoles. But I still would rather play a Mario game than anything else. I would rather play a Zelda game than any other role-playing or action game. I would still rather play Mario Party versus any other casual game. I'm a Nintendo guy. I don't care about Sony PlayStations. I don't care about Xboxes. I don't care. If you give me an old Xbox, I'll probably figure out some way to run a Sega Genesis on it, which I actually saw some guy who's actually got this old Xbox he got for $10 and set it up with an emulator and some legal, I'm sure, ROMs from somewhere, and he's got it so you can play the Sega Genesis and old Super Nintendo stuff on it. Which is
smart guy.
Sweet, which is really sweet, because he gets to play it with a real Xbox controller and stuff.
If I knew how to do that, I know I would try it.
But, so that's what the Disney Plus was meant for. But if you're not in either of those two core groups, there's no reason to stick around waiting for Mandalorian Season 2 to show up. Drop it. Come back when Season 2 comes out so you can watch Mandalorian if you're into that kind of thing. I have heard recently that Kathleen Kennedy, who's currently in charge of the whole Star Wars effort over at Disney, is probably on her last legs by now. There's supposedly some plans afoot in regards to what's happening with Star Wars, because I don't think anybody at corporate is overly happy with the performance of the last 3 movies they've got. Especially the last movie they got. What was it? The Last Jedi was number 9? Yeah. Number 9. Yeah. So apparently they're not too enthused because the next, from what I'm hearing from what I'm hearing online, from the Fandom Menace is what they call themselves. Comicscape for for Star Wars fans. From what I'm hearing from the Fandom Menace sources is that the next Star Wars set was supposed to be more female centric. So in other words, they were going to become Ghostbusters 2016. That apparently has been put on full lockdown, and that is not happening now. But speaking,
we don't need that no more.
Speaking of Ghostbusters, this just came out a couple of days ago. Director Paul Feig, whatever he's called. Feig.
Yeah.
He's figured out why Ghostbusters 2016 failed so hard.
Oh, really? Do tell. I like to hear this. Straight from the horse's mouth.
Okay. It was because people didn't like Hillary. It was people who didn't like Hillary Clinton that are the reason why Ghostbusters 2016 failed. Yes.
But she wasn't even in the movie.
No, but it was the... You got to understand something. It was... what Feig is saying is that the sexists who
getting so tired of
who
that.
hated Hillary Clinton just mobilized and I guess set up blockades around theaters and stuff so people wouldn't be able to go watch his masterpiece.
I have never heard that. It was not even reported in the news. When did this happen?
Okay, according to Variety magazine, Feig said some really brilliant author or researcher or sociologist, he doesn't know the difference, needs to write a book about 2016 and how intertwined our film was with Hillary Clinton and the anti-Hillary movement. Quote, it was just this year where everything went to a boiling point. I don't know if it was an African-American president for 8 years teed them up or something, but they were just ready to explode. By the time in 2014 or 2015, when I announced I was going to make the movie, it started. Feig went on to point towards President Trump's own negative comments regarding the film as indicative of a larger ideological tie between the criticism both faced. Quote, this is Feig now, it's crazy how people got nuts about women trying to be in power or trying to be in positions they weren't normally in. It was an ugly, ugly year. And also,
Whoa.
That meant that Ghostbusters 2016 fit it perfectly because that was an ugly, ugly film. Now I won't say anything about the ugly, ugly chicks in it because that would just be sexist and over the line.
Look, I was excited when Ghostbusters was coming out. I really was. You know, that's something I grew up with. You know, I love Ghostbusters. I love the cartoon. But the movie just sucked. It had nothing to do with it being all women. Like I have always said, okay, it's the story. Don't have political woke moments in your film. Do not try to make a certain point in your film. Just tell a really good story. Ghostbusters 2016 was just shit. It was horrible. Okay? It was so horrible. I keep telling people that it reminded me of the live-action Scooby-Doo movies. It really did. All the ghosts were cartoons. Literally, the ghosts in the movie were like, they had that stuff that glows in the dark. What do you call that stuff?
The fluorescent paint.
Yeah, like that's what it looked like. And it's just like, what? I was just waiting for Shaggy and Scoob to show up and be like, zoinks, or whatever it is that they say. It was just horrible. It was a horrible movie. It had nothing to do with them being all women. It was just horrible.
Yeah, pretty much. So.
Plus, it doesn't match the tone. Like the original Ghostbusters has a certain tone of comedy. This one had the Dumber and Dumber type of comedy. Especially when you had Chris Hemsworth in there, you know, playing with the fish tank and just acting like he has no brain in anything. It's just like, okay, you know what? All right. Go on.
Okay.
Go on.
So we've got that going for us. Now, do you know who John Krasinski is?
Yes.
We're going to change. Let's go ahead and get this out of the way. John Krasinski used to be on The Office, for those of you
Oh,
who
I know
don't
where this is going.
Okay.
I know where this is going.
Last month he started a podcast on YouTube, or not a podcast. He started a YouTube channel called Some Good News. All right, his kids came up with the logo. He would go out and he would find some kind of good news story to talk about,
Which is what we all need.
Okay, and he opened his first video saying, quote, "For years I wondered why there wasn't a news show dedicated entirely to good news," end quote. Now we know it's because it's all about the cash, baby. All about the cash.
We sold it.
Because whoever slaps together a couple of feel-goods is going to rake in a ton of money. Krasinski has sold some good news to Viacom CBS after a massive bidding war erupted and fans are ticked off. Lindsay Weber on Twitter said, "Remember when he created this free feel-good YouTube show to, quote, make people feel good, end quote, and now he is selling it for millions of dollars. Really cool, 100% honorable. Now, if you want to watch some good news, you have to pay Viacom $10 a month for their service, so you can watch some good news now.
We should do one and just say good day. See if it works for us. Just one good day.
Another commenter on Twitter's pointed out he made 8 YouTube videos comprised largely of unpaid contributions from fans, sold the brand to a major conglomerate, and isn't even going to make it anymore. Just cashed out. Does this rub anyone else the wrong way, kinda? So this is just... Wow.
I mean,
so now you know why there's no good news on TV, because the other TV producers will sit there and squash it at the first chance they get.
It won't last long. And it's not like he needed the money, because he just got through writing and directing a movie with his wife, which was like one of the #1 horror movies, and now they got a sequel coming out called A Quiet Place 2.
Plus, he's still getting residuals every week from The Office.
Yeah, true.
The Office has become like that and Friends are the two biggies right now.
I don't understand why he sold it unless they had a certain idea that he said, you know what, that is a great idea. Or if he is still in charge of it, just, it's going to be on.
So, there's another new Indiana Jones movie getting ready to enter production now.
Please be good. Please be good.
So this is, I don't know if it's going to be Indiana Jones, the early bird dinner, or what it is. That's what Cracked is saying it's going to turn out being. But it's going to be directed by James Mangold, the guy who did Ford versus Ferrari.
Which was actually a really good movie.
So, and he also did Logan. So that gives you an idea of the two directions this film could go in.
Actually,
now this is from Dan Duddy over at Cracked, and I like this. I love the idea here so much because he's doing what we usually do. We'll take an idea that's old and tired, and we'll polish that turd up a little bit, and it's like, hey, that's actually a halfway cool idea. So this is what Dan Duddy did with Indiana Jones. He sees it going two ways with this director. Okay, if Marigold really wants to be ballsy, Indy's going to have Alzheimer's or dementia. Dementia would be even better because he'd be more functional. It wouldn't be pretty to watch because Indy wouldn't be able to remember anybody or key events or variant's name.
Sad.
But the thematic impact would be powerful. It's a story about an archaeologist whose life passion is to preserve history, and now he can't even do so on a personal level. So he could borrow from Don Quixote, see Indy tilting at Nazi windmills as he punches his way through ancient temples in spite of himself. But ultimately, that movie would have to end in the character's death. Because like with Logan, where Logan gets old enough that his own power starts to fail him, that healing element, and old age finally takes him, he's got to die somewhere. Can he make it mean something? So that seems like a good idea. And then the other option is the Ride Off into the Sunset ending. That's kind of more like Ford versus Ferrari, but it would be Indy versus aging. It would be the ultimate dad movie. Here we'd get some new snot-nosed, hotshot adventuring archaeologist to arrive on the scene and insult Indy's pride, and then this new guy will call, Iowa Johnson will call him as young and brilliant, cracks a whip like a high-end dominatrix, but he lacks Indy's grit and old-school values, so Indy has to gear up for one last adventure in a race against Iowa for the crystal who gives a shit. Just to show this new young guy why he's been at this for so long.
Now, I like that idea because they've been trying to get rid of Indiana Jones for a long time. Well, not get rid of him, but him retire because Harrison Ford's old.
Harrison Ford's going to be making... Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're going to be filming footage of his crypt for the last movie. But
I thought, wouldn't it be cool if, kind of like that last story, of somebody else coming in, but yet they learn everything from Indiana Jones to the point like they want to be just like him. And I saw a deep fake, one of those deep fake videos where they put the face, somebody else's face on that character, and they did one with Chris Pratt on Indiana Jones, and I'm like, yes, because Chris Pratt has the, not just kind of, like he would look great in that Indiana Jones outfit, but he has that snarkiness to where he won't be like Harrison Ford's character, but he can be like a con artist or something like that. And then he's like, you know, I can use my con artist knowledge and the knowledge of archaeology and do what he does and kind of like mix it in, and you would have a different breed of Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones always had a little bit of that sarcastic edge to him.
Yeah.
Chris Pratt seems to have more of a snarky edge to him.
Exactly. That's why that's perfect, I think. You know?
Now, all right, so we've got some bad news under our plate. That one, maybe a little bit of good news. Are you ready for some really good news? Because you're a David Tennant
You said
fan,
bad
aren't you?
news. Oh, David Tennant. Okay, let me hear what.
So he's a huge David Tennant mark. Okay?
Look,
He loves David Tennant.
David Tennant is freaking awesome. I have fell in love with this guy. And
Oh my God, have you seen Broadchurch yet?
No, I have not.
It's on BritBox.
He has like a bunch of shows that I'm like,
Yes,
oh,
you
I
need to
check
watch
this,
Broadchurch.
this.
Because you will be impressed. Which is incredible. They still don't have the rights to Doctor Who on that yet, but that's still sitting over at Amazon because Amazon just keeps shoveling BBC millions of dollars every year for the rights to the modern Who. But that's all right. Okay, now.
Give it to me, yeah.
Okay, so David Tennant.
Right.
All right.
David
He was the
Tennant,
10th Doctor Who, right?
which is how I got into the Doctor Who thing.
Now, there are different parts to the Doctor Who universe. Of course, you got the Doctor Who TV show, which is currently languishing and woke hell right now. But you've got the TV show, you've got books, you've got comics, but you also have radio dramas. There have been Doctor Who audio dramas forever, honestly. And one of the biggest groups that does that is called Big Finish. Big Finish Productions.
Right.
And they make one of their big franchises is they do Doctor Who audio adventures, where they get the actors who played the characters in Doctor Who. So they get the guy who played Doctor Who, plus they get his companion, and they get some of the other actors who have experience in Doctor Who together to do basically radio plays, like
Right.
old-time radio shows.
Okay. I'm following.
So now they've got a new series called Out of Time, where they're going to bring together doctors who have never performed together before, and they are going to do radio adventures. So the first one out of the bat is going to be with Tom Baker.
Huh.
So David Tennant, the 10th Doctor, is going to team up with Tom Baker, the 4th Doctor, a guy who, when he left the show back in the early 80s, when he left the show, he swore he wanted nothing to do with nothing to do with Doctor Who, nothing to do with the BBC. He wanted nothing to do with television. He was done. He wanted to go out and be a real actor. It took 40 years, but he's finally worn down enough that he's like, yeah, that'd be cool to do. So Tom Baker and David Tennant are going to be doing, and this is, in canon, a Doctor Who audio adventure together, part of the Out of Time series, and that should be coming out here probably towards the end of this year or beginning of next year. So it's August 2020 is what it's set at now. Whether the Rona lets them actually do it or not, it's another matter entirely.
Honestly, now wait a minute. Actually, I think they can still do it because you can do, it's radio. So basically, they can still do that in their own home with a script, you know, and they just give their parts, and then all their parts can go to whoever, and they just like edit just right, and then there you go. So they can still do it.
There you go.
So Cassandra Blair, remember this. She's She loves Doctor Who.
But you can actually, if you look up Big Finish Doctor Who, you'll be able to find their website. You can pre-order this as an audio download for £9. That's roughly $10. Or you can download or you can get a version where you get the download plus you get a CD of this for your permanent archive, or however long CDs last, for like £11. So you can pre-order it. It is supposed to be out in August. So you got that going for you. So
David Tennant is like a master of all because he can do anything, and he does so much you have to literally catch up with him.
So you got anything else you want to pile on to this semi-newsish thing? We wound up doing about as much commentary as we did news items, but
Yeah, I mean, you know, like I said, it's the same stuff over and over again. There's a couple of things. So anyway, I'll make this. I'm not going to go all out.
please don't.
I'm not. So anyway, of course, the Snyder Cut is happening after the studio has literally gave him permission and $30 million to continue his version of Justice League, which will be airing in 2021 on HBO Max.
Like it's going to be $30 million. You know he's going to run right past that,
man.
right?
Oh yeah, there was already speculation that it's going to be about 80 million, and I was like,
Probably.
this,
And from what I'm hearing online is the idea that he's going to take existing footage and go in different directions with it. So he's actually going to.
So he's going to do something different.
He's going to make his own film. Yeah.
Yeah.
So. But this is what y'all. Now, this isn't what y'all wanted. You thought you were going to get the Snyder cut of this movie, which never actually existed.
Exactly.
But this is what y'all wanted. This is what y'all get. This is why you're paying $16 a month for HBO Max.
So
anyway,
good for you. You're going to get what you want.
hey, and that's you know what? That's the best way to have at it because I'm not paying for it.
Yeah.
I don't have AT&T as my cell phone service, so I ain't paying a dime for none of this. Let it come out in the wash. That way, when it comes out, y'all either vindicate it or you ain't. Let's see what happens. Put your money on the table, Warner Media. Get it out the door.
The good thing is that means Affleck is coming back to be Batman again. So I'm pretty sure he's proud of that one.
Is there any way we can get Christopher Nolan back?
God, I wish. But Henry Cavill is also going to reported that he's going to be doing a couple more Superman movies, which I'm so happy for.
He's going to have a mustache.
Probably.
He's going to have your mustache, like maybe a beard.
He's not that lucky.
You have a whole full beard.
He can't pull this off.
Well, I'm not going to hold my breath for that to turn up on HBO Max, but one thing I did see on that's going to be on HBO Max is the new Looney Tunes shorts that they're doing.
Mm.
Those actually look pretty good.
They
did release a preview, HBO Max did, that had 2 cartoons to it that I saw. It's all new material. Well, as far as Looney Tunes is concerned, because it's all formula, but it's good formula if you stick to it. The animation reminds me of a cross, I think, between like Robert Clampett and Art Davis, and only really old school Looney Tunes guys or hardcore Looney Tunes guys will even know who Art Davis is, but he was one of Bob Clampett's guys. So the animation is actually really good. You can tell that it's digital because there's way too much repetitive motion. There aren't nearly as many zoom in, zoom outs, ballooning and stuff. But the first one I saw was a Tweety cartoon called Boo Appa Tweet. So I knew as soon as I saw Boo Appa Tweet, that corny, bad pun title, I knew we had some actual Looney Tunes enthusiasts in charge of this project. So, and it actually dealt with Sylvester thinks he's finally eaten Tweety. Tweety was actually landed in a bowl of flour because Granny had been making muffins or something. And so Tweety climbs out. Sylvester actually ate Tweety's muffin. And so Sylvester's covered in flour, or Tweety's covered in flour, and is chasing Sylvester all over the place trying to get his muffin back. Oh my God, the ice cream man's coming. Did you hear that?
Is that what that is?
That's what that is. That's the
Oh,
ice cream
like,
man. The ice cream man is coming!
We usually have so many technical problems. I actually thought it was coming from the camera. I was like, is that, what is that?
But anyway. So it looks like these are in good hands. So that's hopeful. Eventually Warner's going to put this stuff to DVD, and that's probably when I'll get it, or it'll be available digitally somewhere. Because odds are I'm probably not going to be overly enthused about joining HBO Max until they start getting all their stuff together. But hey, see how we bring it all right back around where it started? Now you going to ruin that by bringing up something else?
Well, there's...
You have something? We'll bring it up on the next video. But so for now, until next time, believe it or not, this is episode 98 of Geekin' Out. This is actually episode like 114 because
This is 98.
This is 98. We've actually blown about 15, 16 episodes over the last year. This is 98. Next one is Geekin' Out 99, and that leads us up to the big 100th episode, buddy. And that'll be coming up. Episode 100 will debut next week, and I've got a little surprise standing by for everybody. So, even for you, buddy, you'll find
these things.
Here's the thing.
I'm worried.
I'm the producer of this. I'm the producer of this show. You're the co-host. You're the guy who does the research and stuff, and throws the ideas out. And you've brought the online presence and stuff. I'm the one who has to do the post-production work.
I'm worried.
So, what I'm going to do is just before our big 100th episode, I have episode 99 and a half almost done. So this is episode 98. We're going to wrap this. We're going to do one more episode. That's going to be episode 99. I'm going to somehow find a way to get these 2 episodes out over the next week. And so sometime in the first week of June, you're going to see episode 99 and a half, and that's going to give you a hint of what happens to Geekin' Out from this point forward. Because you were complaining, and believe it or not, I have noticed there are about 3 or 4 active Geekin' Out accounts out there right now.
Yeah, I know, right?
And they've all resurrected since we started the show. I'm sure it's purely coincidence.
I mean, it would worry me if we had more viewers. But due to the fact that they have more viewers, and their quality's a little bit better than ours, yeah, we're
I'll eat all of this shit. But anyway. So we'll come back with episode 99 and whatever we're going to do with that. But until then, I'm Spike.
I'm Chris.
That is still Chris. We'll see you next time on Geekin' Out. Ta! 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 Ta!
Trump don't trust China. China is asshole.